Shalom, Israel. My name is Officer Kayad, one out of I.S.U.P.K, Jamaica. I.S.U.P.K started 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. I.S.U.P.K is run by Commanding General YAHANNA, the one man with the rank and the authority to lead Israel at this time. I say Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai Barakatam to my brothers, Yahweh Shamar Alatan Basham Yahweh Shai to my sisters. Alright, so why is it important to teach that Jesus is black? Alright, you see the Christian church no is teaching that, the color of Christ don't matter. Well, in the past, the Christian church used to show the white Jesus, brawling in the Christian church. Hang up on the walls. You understand? Now, when people start have questions as to the color of Christ, specifically because the I.S.U.P.K and the Commanding General YAHANNA start to bring up the true color of Christ. Now the Christian church want to tell us, well, the color don't matter. But in the meanwhile, even though they don't have the white Jesus out on the forefront like one time, except for in the Catholic Church, which is the mother of all churches, see, them have it in their pamphlets. So if you go inside of the church and you're giving out any quarterly, any kind of pamphlets in the Seventh-day Adventist church or other churches, you will see that white Jesus. You will not only see a white Jesus, you will see a white Moses, a white any prophet. See, the children of Israel are depicted as white. And but yet still them tell us color don't matter. It is important that the children of Israel, some of who, are in Jamaica right now. Some of whom are in Jamaica right now, which are the tribe of Benjamin, who were brought over here and cargo slave ships. It is important to teach these people that Jesus look like them. Why? You see the crime and the violence that you see amongst, the descendants of the slave, the tribe of Benjamin in Jamaica right now. You see the murder rate. You see people going missing. You understand? So what teaching Christ's color could do to prevent crime? Well, for one, it could let our people, look at another black man as being valuable, because if the greatest man to walk the face of the earth was black, like we, that would give us a sense of pride as to, as to our skin color, and then now look at another black man as being valuable. And even better than that, if we knew that Christ came from the same family, not having just the same skin color, come from the same family as the people who were brought over here in slavery, then now we have to sit back and think how valuable is another black person, another Israelite who came across in the slave trade with us. Maybe we think twice, before we shoot a brother in the head. Maybe we'll think twice before we sleep with another brother's wife. Maybe we'll think twice before we treat our sisters like, like whores, or teach our daughters to be whores. Because guess what? We belong to a bloodline of people who are royalty. And the greatest man to walk the face of this earth, is a black man, and he comes from our family. And not only is he the greatest man to walk the face of the earth, he's the most righteous man to walk the face of the earth. And Christianity agree with that. That Christ is the most righteous man to walk the face of the earth, because they claim that they follow Christ, even though they don't want to admit that he's black. See? So if we had, a role model such as Christ, being a black man just like us, and not only being a black man, being the most righteous man to walk the face of the earth. If we as black people had such a role model, what would be, what difference would that make? It would mean say now, then we could look at each other as valuable and then see ourselves in a righteous perspective. Because if the most righteous man to walk the face of the earth comes from my family, then why is the media and society portraying my people as criminals? Then would I look upon it now and say, wait, but I'm not a criminal. I am not a wicked person. I come from a bloodline of righteous people. As a matter of fact, the most righteous man to walk the face of the earth comes from my family. You understand? So that is why the I.S.U.P.K and a commanding general YAHANNA brings out that Jesus was a black man, because that can help the self-esteem problem that we have over here amongst our people. That can, teach our brothers to learn some brotherhood and our sisters to learn some sisterhood towards each other. You understand? So we're going to jump to some scriptures to show you the color of Christ, as we usually do. See? We'll jump to the book of Revelation chapter 1 and 30. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, also leave your comments. You understand? And share on all social media platforms. All right, so this is the book of Revelation chapter 1 and verse 13, and it says, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about his paps with a golden girdle. So this is the book of Revelation describing Christ. John the Revelator saw Christ in a vision. See? And Revelation, if you follow Christianity, you think the book of Revelation means, destruction and a horror movie. With some part of it really that tells you about judgment and the end times. But the book of Revelation simply means the revealing of Christ. Revelation just means to reveal. See? Verse 1 says, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him, to shew unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angels unto his servant John. So this is the revealing of Jesus Christ. For those who think that, nobody knows what Jesus looked like. Well, Revelations tell you. So let me continue reading. So we are verse 14 now. Verse 14, his head and his ears were white like wool. What does it mean by his head and his ears? Mean the ear on his head and the ears that are on his face were white. White is the color. Like wool. Wool is the texture. So he had white woolly hair. That does not fit the description of the white Jesus in the Christian church. Because Jesus had white woolly hair, but which race of people on the face of the earth have woolly hair? That is your, that is the black man here in Jamaica. And our brothers in North America. And our brothers in Haiti. And our brothers in Bahamas, Barbados. You understand? We have woolly hair. You understand? Just like Christ. Let me continue reading. And his eyes were as flames of fire, meaning he did not have blue eyes like the white Jesus that the Christian church portrayed. His eyes were as flame of fire. You understand? Let me continue reading. Verse 15, and his feet like unto fine brass. So John the Revelator saw Christ having on a long garment, and the only part of his skin he could see was his feet. You understand? And it was like fine brass. What is the color of brass? Brass is brown. And it continued to say that as if they burn in a furnace. So Christ was dark skin black. If you put anything in a fire, it becomes darker. Brass put in a fire become dark brown. Christ was a dark skinned black man. You don't believe me? Let me jump to the book of Daniel. Daniel also saw Christ, the same depiction. You know what I mean? And he give you a more vivid description. You understand? So we'll jump to the book of Daniel chapter 10 and verse 5. See? All right, so this is the book of Daniel, chapter 10 and verse 5. And it said, then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with the fine gold of Uphaz. So Daniel saw the same man that John the Revelator in Revelation saw. And he had the same golden girdle or war belt. Continue reading. Verse 6. His body also was like the beryl, talking about his garment. Beryl is a green color. So he had on a green garment on his body. Let me continue reading. And his face has the appearance of lightning, meaning he wasn't smiling. You understand? He had a stern look. You understand? Continue reading. And his eyes as lamp of fire. Remember, John the Revelator said his eyes were like flame of fire. You understand? Daniel said his eyes are as lamps of fire. Let me continue reading. Zane. And his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass. So Christ's hand and him foot them at the color. It used the word color of polished brass. What color is brass? Brass is my complexion. You understand? So Christ, you know what I mean, hands and feet, you know what I mean, look like a regular black man. But your Christian church hide this. Why? Because you have to remember, you know, it was the people who enslaved you, gave you Christianity. They did not give you the Bible. They gave you Christianity. You understand that that is the difference, so we need to understand. So if a certain people enslave you, would they tell you that Jesus look like you, yet alone tell you that he came from your family? Let me tell you what they would have done. They would have give you a white Jesus and then tell you that you are not the children of Israel. And that Jesus, you know what I mean, did not come from the same bloodline as you. When in fact, Jesus was a black man just like you. And he was killed by the same white people who killed us in slavery. The Romans killed Christ. And the Romans are oppressors. They are Caucasian. These same people enslave Christ's people. So you tell me that it is not important to teach Christ's color, real color. It is very important to the regular man on the street here in Jamaica to know that Jesus had his complexion. And as a matter of fact, Jesus came from his family lineage. You understand? And what is the Christian church doing? Telling you that color don't matter. But let me show you what the Bible says about those who don't teach Christ's color. See, this is the book of 1 John chapter 4 and 3, and it says, every spirit that confess not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not of God. What does that mean? When it says, any spirit that don't confess that Jesus come in the flesh, they are not of God. What that mean? It means that Jesus came in the flesh. What is the flesh? Your flesh is your skin, your color. So any spirit that don't teach you that him come in the flesh and describe what him look like is not of God. Your Christian church teaches a color don't matter. They are not of God, and that is what we are trying to tell you. Let me continue reading. And this is that spirit of Antichrist. Your Christian pastor talk about Antichrist every day, but him no know say him is an Antichrist. Antichrist mean to be against Christ, and they are against Christ because they don't teach that Christ was a black man. Let me continue reading. Wherefore ye have heard that it should come. Right, talking about the Antichrist. So Christ told, you know what I mean, his disciple that the Antichrist are going to come. Talking about the Christian church. You understand? And even now already is it in the world. Talking about the Roman Catholics at the time. The Romans were trying to hijack the Bible or the scriptures, which are Hebrew records, black people records. So while they were killing Christ, because Christ was getting the Israelites to come back to the Most High, they were plotting to take over his image. And that is what you see today, Christianity. That is the outcome of the Roman Catholics hijacking the Bible. You understand? So it is very important to teach that Jesus is black. You understand? If you don't teach that Jesus is black, you are an antichrist, according to the Bible. And with that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments, share on all social media platforms. If you have WhatsApp, blast the video, show your WhatsApp contacts, or create a WhatsApp group and add your contacts to it. You can share also in Facebook groups. Make this go viral. And with that, pay your tithes to Commanding General YAHANNA. Shalom.